Poetry of Immigrants, our 32nd show, and today we will be continuing our theme from last month of asylum seekers from the southern border, and we have today with us a very special guest, Karen Cole, and returning from last time, Deborah Cohen, and Robin Baslaw, and Chris Van Scoy. Today is 9/11, and I think it's appropriate that we are talking today about immigrants and asylum seekers, and just the way our country has been reacting to issues around people from other places. And I would like first to have Chris Van Scoy read us a poem about refugees, and this is from a asylum seeker that went to Britain.
The poem is titled Home. It was written by Warsan Shire, who was a refugee from Somalia and moved to Great Britain. No one leaves home unless home is the mouth of a shark. You only run for the border when you see the whole city running as well. Your neighbor's running faster than you. The boy you went to school with who kissed you dizzy behind the old tin factory is holding a gun bigger than his body. You only leave home when home won't let you stay. No one would leave home unless home chased you. Fire under feet, hot blood in your belly. It's not something you ever thought about doing, and so when you did, you carried the anthem under your breath, waiting until the airport toilet to tear up the passport and swallow each mouthful of paper, making it clear that you would not be going back. You have to understand, no one puts their children in a boat unless the water is safer than the land. Who would choose to spend days and nights in the stomach of a truck unless the miles traveled meant something more than journey? No one would choose to crawl under fences, be beaten until your shadow leaves you, raped, then drowned, forced to the bottom of the boat because you are darker, be sold, starved, shot at the border like a sick animal, be pitied, lose your name, lose your family, make a refugee camp a home for a year or 2 or 10. Stripped and searched, find prison everywhere. And if you survive and you are greeted on the other side with, "Go home, blacks, refugees, dirty immigrants, asylum seekers, sucking our country dry of milk, dark with their hands out, smell strange, savage. Look what they've done to their own countries. What will they do to ours?" The dirty looks in the street, softer than a limb torn off. The indignity of everyday life, more tender than 14 men who look like your father between your legs, insults easier to swallow than rubble, than your child's body in pieces, for now. Forget about pride, your survival is more important. I want to go home, but home is the mouth of a shark. Home is the barrel of a gun, and no one would leave home unless home chased you to the shore, unless home tells you to leave what you could not leave behind, even if it was human. No one leaves home until home is a damp voice in your ear saying, "Leave, run now." I don't know what I've become.
Thank you, Chris. And I think that really sums up the experience of many, many asylum seekers. They don't come here because they want an easier life. They come here to save their lives and the lives of their families. Last time we talked about our experience at the southern border with Chris and Robin and Deborah, but today we'd like to focus on what Karen Cole has done in Mesa and Phoenix, Arizona with asylum seekers. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you. I'd like to start with this. I've been working with Asylum since October 2018, and we had all these little churches taking a bus load or two every week. And the International Rescue Committee came to visit us, and they asked us what all the churches do they need. He said, we really need a central location. These small churches have one bathroom for 100 people. They don't have showers. Storage of the donated clothes is a problem. So the International Rescue Committee, they're a worldwide organization. They've been in business for 80 years. They've been in this business. So they made arrangements with the city of Phoenix to rent this school that was closed for 10 years. It was an area next to the airport and on a highway, interstate highway, and they had cleared all the properties, bought all the property, because they were going to extend the airport. Well, it never happened, but they did not tear down this school. And this school was cool because it was next to the airport and the highway. They have the dirt going from the ground to the roof of the building. So you drive on the roof, and they have a basketball court on the roof. So there's no windows in the school, so it's very quiet. And it was very clean. So they International Rescue Committee rented it for $500 a year, and they're making all the renovations. So they got 5,000 square feet, and 2,500 is going to be for refugees, and the other 2,500 is for classrooms and for different organizations that support them. So they're installing smoke detectors in the rooms to let people sleep in there. They're installing showers. They have 24-hour security. And they have paid staff at night. So what ICE does is we work with the people that come from the Triangle, which is Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador. They get through Mexico and they ask for political asylum because in their country there's a drought in their country, so they don't have food. The gangs are very prevalent there. If they can't go to the police or the judge will tell them, escape. There's nothing I can do for you because my family would get killed supporting you. So they get to the Mexican border, apply for political asylum. If they've got a sponsor in the United States that's willing to pay for their transportation from Phoenix, Arizona to their location, they get released to us, a busload at a time. So we receive them. And well, anyway, the school has they have, we have, each classroom we're going to have like 20 classrooms that'll be like a living room with cots in it, cribs and toys for the people to sleep in. St. Vincent de Paul is providing the hot meals a couple times a day. They have what's called 100 Angels, which is volunteer doctors and nurses that have an office there, but they have come to all the locations, so everybody gets to receive checkup medical care. They have colds, runny noses, or they haven't had their diabetes medicine, so that's great. They have a volunteer organization do that. And the other churches had to find translators to speak Spanish to call their family to tell them their family's here, and then we got a confirmation number, and from that confirmation number we determined when they were going to go out that day by Greyhound bus or by airplane, and depends on when their flight was going to leave. We provided them with clean clothes, a shower. The small churches had to rent showers, a shower trailer for $500, and so it's well organized. There's classrooms, so this is going to be a much better facility. They've been working, International Rescue Committee has been working in the Phoenix area for 6 years, so we're so happy that they've came aboard. So you can show all my slides. I have 15 slides that I'll explain as we go along, pictures. Okay, this is the first one. I have a pair of scissors. I'm cutting her pants off because when they are released to the States, they have to report to an ICE location at their location in 10 days, and they put an ankle bracelet on them for 4 months. So I had to take scissors and cut those pants off so she could put some clean clothes on. So that was good. And she has her little boy with her, and she went like this, that her husband was beating her. She had to escape. So that's one situation. Okay, the next film. Is she gonna? Okay, this is a family from Guatemala that's, if their plane isn't or bus isn't leaving to the next day, if they can't stay at the church, we have host families. So we hosted this beautiful family from Guatemala, and the little girl was Rachel. She was so cute. She had no teeth. They're doing well. We went on a cruise to Cuba in March, and we called them up. They're only 12 miles from our airport, and he's working kind of under the table for his relatives, doing landscaping and construction. So they talked to me on what's up, and little Rachel's learning English. Her father spends 2 hours a night teaching her English. So she goes, Miss Karen, Miss Karen. She calls me on the phone. It's so cute. So these are going to be friends for life. They're gentle people. They're not violent. They just want to survive. So you can go to the next one. This is another family hosted from Honduras, a father and son. They were going to Kentucky. You can move on. Okay. Oh, that's another family. That's my husband and I with the family at our home. So we put them up for one night. And I had a bad cold, so the 17-year-old son was making me a syrup on the stove with honey and stuff. He was so cute. They were very huggy people. Next. Okay, this is the father. He had to wear that. So when he arrived in Florida, he had to report to the ICE location every month. They came and check on him, make sure he was still there, and after 4 months, he got the ankle bracelet taken off. He does have a court date coming up. He's got a lawyer there. Okay, next. Okay, this is a shower trailer for facilities to give them a shower. It's a shower trailer. There's 6 showers in there, so they really appreciate having a clean shower. It could be a long time and having their hair washed. So that's one of the things we provided. Costs $500 a month to rent it. $500 to rent a trailer. I don't know how long we get it. So the International Rescue Committee is installing showers at their location, which is going to be a great help. Put the next slide on. That's what the trailer shower looks like. And this is at one of the churches. All the clothes are donated. We have it by size, and so when we welcome the people on the bus, when we welcome the people, we give the children a stuffed animal, and they have the people sit down, and we immediately give them water, and they love coffee. They haven't had coffee in a long time. Give the children milk, and we sing songs with them in Thanksgiving and pray that they're there. And they cry, and we cry, and we pass around Kleenexes. And they eat, we give them fresh fruit. They haven't had fruit for so long, so they just are, it's such a treat to give them fresh fruit. And once we get their confirmation number, then we will out them from the clothes. The men are so small, you need like pants 28 and 30. Their feet are small, 20, size 9 and less. You have to, they can even wear the women's pants. So we give them clean clothes, a jacket, because this couple with the 4 people, they were going to Miami, Florida. That is 3 nights and 2 days on that Greyhound bus. And you have to, where's my map? I give them a map of the United States. Now, can you imagine not speaking the language, taking a bus for all that time? The time changes 2 times, so you have 3 different times. They have to transfer to 2 different buses, and they have, the bus makes stops every once in a while, but some of them are an hour stop and some of them are 10-minute stops. So, and I give them a watch. They don't, I don't know how it's amazing they get there. But I do have through the Lutheran service, we give them a piece of paper with a telephone number that they can call. So it's got their name on it. I'm new to the country, can you please help me? So they must, but when they get on the bus, there's a lot of other people that have traveled with them, so they're kind of friendly to each other, which is a help. Okay, let's, if I got all my pictures done. I'll keep the slides, keep them going. Okay, the next one. People are very generous. That's what an ice bus looks like, and there's me with that stuffed animals. People are, I have a lot of friends, we go shopping at Savers, it's half price on Monday, and we have no problem getting the donations. Keep going, I think there's a little, oh, they even tag the babies. Like, cut the tags off because they're on their way. You can keep moving that. Yeah, I think that's, oh, when they take the bus, we go to the bus station, we wait for them until they board their bus. I have to show you a bus schedule. It's amazing that they ever get on the bus. Where is my schedule? Oh, here. I don't know if you can see that. Here's the bus schedule. This gentleman was going to Albuquerque. It doesn't say Albuquerque, it says Chicago. In the little print it says Albuquerque. And they were supposed to leave at 11:30. They really didn't leave till 12:45 in the morning, so you had to wait another hour and a half. So when they do take the bus, we take a jumbo Ziploc bag and fill it with pre-packaged food for each person each day. Vienna sausages, peanut butter crackers, and juice. So, and we give them $30 or $40 if they want a cup of coffee or water along the trip. So it's an adventure. They're thankful they're here, and they're very loving, gentle people. Anybody have any questions? So I was very impressed with international. They have classrooms, so that, and they can have work. I have this whole thing too, if you want me to explain this. Everybody's seen this in the New York Times, this article. Isn't this, it's a tearjerker. Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the Spanish churches doesn't have room for them. We're outside and they have installed a mister. Actually, their mister broke and the air conditioner broke and donations came through. God provides, and we have misters, so we have cool, moist spraying on us while we're serving them a meal. And they don't have, most of these churches Spanish churches don't even have a kitchen. They have a sink and a refrigerator and one bathroom, and they're cooking the food outside on Bunsen burners and big pots. So you've probably seen this. Here's little Rachel with one of the dresses. I have a group where I live, and they made pillowcase dresses for girls, so she got a little dress. So, and I guess that's about all.
Many of the things that you have been talking about are similar to the experiences, the brief experiences that we had when we were at the Casa Alitas, the monastery, which has since closed, but just the way the people arrive and how they're tired and how the children are greeted with a stuffed animal, but just the fact that their bodies are, they're not used to certain foods and they need to be carefully given, fresh fruits and things that don't upset their stomach because they might not have eaten well for a while.
Right.
And you talked before about tortillas and beans and rice, which is their regular diet.
What they tell me what they get is they get a sandwich 3 times a day. And Mexicans they're not used to bread. They eat corn tortillas and not enough water. So their stomachs, and the children get a package of crackers and juice 3 times a day. We're actually paying $700 a day for that, But
this is at the detention centers?
At the detention centers. So once they're released, we give them nice homemade chicken noodle soup. It's soothing for them, and Gatorade. And then we give them rice and beans and warm corn tortillas and fresh fruit. So they're very happy, and they need that. So
when you talked about singing songs and
You're right.
and that there was an experience that we had where when the people are welcomed to the dinner,
Right.
first they sit down and there's like a thankfulness, and just they were encouraged to breathe in and breathe out,
Right.
and just to feel their new safe
Right.
place that they are. But I think one thing people might not realize is these centers for people that have had their first credible fear interview and then go on to a sponsorship family, they're at these centers for like a very short period of time before they get on their long bus or airplane trip.
Right, right. We
But-
have less than 24 hours in there.
But without these places,
Right.
they would just be dumped off at
Right. ICE would just drop them off at the Greyhound bus depot, which was a problem, and that's why we went and took them, because you can only go into the Greyhound bus depot if you got a ticket 2 hours before your flight. So they were out in the ditches. They were actually in the ditches. No bathroom, no food. They don't have a phone. How are you going to make a phone call? So soon as we have contacted their family, we let them talk to their family, and I take a picture of them and send that picture to their family. They're so grateful. So, but that's why the churches started, because ICE was dropping them at the bus station. They don't have a cell phone.
One of the things that we were really touched by when we were in Tucson was the tremendous outpouring of support and kindness. I mean, people were bringing in fresh fruits and vegetables from their gardens, and they were making
Yes.
huge meals, and people every day. I mean,
Yes.
that place, I would say there was like literally hundreds of volunteers that were keeping that place going.
Right. It's
Not
all-
to mention all the students that were coming
volunteers.
in, and
Yeah.
it was beautiful
It was
to
beautiful. Yeah.
There were student volunteers from high schools,
Right.
high school organizations. I stood next to in the food service line a mother who was watching the clock because her kids were in the preschool and she had to leave at a certain time to get them out. Young mothers just felt this was important to do, and a lot of snowbirds.
Right.
And so, but it's not just one group of people.
And it's all different religions.
Yeah.
Mormons, Muslims, Black. This is America. We welcome these people. So this is
I think this is an example of America at its best.
Right.
at its
Absolutely.
best.
We are reacting to America at its worst, but we're there.
Right.
Were you also struck by a feeling of anticipation and hope from the people who have stopped on their way towards their sponsor families? I know one of the things we talked about after our trip was the sense that these folks were really headed towards something better finally.
That they made it here. This
That they
far.
made it, yeah.
And they
hoping
have
that
hope and-
only good things happen. Although we should mention there's no guarantee that once they come further and stay with their sponsor family that they will ultimately be granted asylum. But this
Right.
is part of the process of hope.
It's hope.
So, just to speak, you had several pictures of the ankle shackles, and they are shackles. There's a lot of misnomers that the government puts out, like ankle bracelets. Nobody's wearing these for decoration. And same thing with the concertina wire. Nobody's doing polkas down there. These are razor wires and ankle shackles. However, what I wanted to point out was that's a for-profit thing too. There's rarely on record people who ditch out and just go missing.
Right.
Yeah,
So
that's
this is really a for-profit thing. Same thing as the buses. Same thing as the detention centers. They're all for-profit things. So a for-profit entity furthers, its interest is to further its own profits.
The other thing I wanted to just note was the resiliency of these families and the connection. Like, we spent time, and a father and his little daughter would just be coloring together. People just so lovingly taking care of each other. I never saw better behaved kids in my
Oh,
life.
I know. The kids are. There's no discipline problem with those children.
No. And the kind of parenting, like the parents had to be scared, but they didn't show that. They just were loving and supported and grounded with their kids. It was beautiful to witness.
Yeah.
And also that even from the get-go, the people who arrive here don't feel they're on the receiving end. I loved how you talked about your sore throat and how they prepared something for somebody the father prepared something for
son.
you. Yeah, the son.
17-year-old son.
Oh my
He's like,
gosh.
he was taking care of me.
That, you know,
Like,
that's just,
instant love. I mean, it's
yeah.
just so.
And I worked for a little while with the children in the playroom, and the fathers would come in and talk to me about their experiences, and they were so interested and appreciative, but also wanted to know right away, who are you? You know, here's who I am, who are you? And, you know, very friendly and open and appreciative. So, okay. I think we're going to break now, take a break from our first half of the show, and we'll come back with Robin's news of our new project here in Connecticut. Thank you.
Community TV, your neighborhood TV.
Publicly funded and a reliable partner for cable companies nationwide. It provides transparent coverage of local and state government, education, and public programming.
A digital town green that can be watched anywhere, anytime, and on any device.
Watch us on today's high-tech distribution methods.
Community TV in Connecticut.
Local,
Unfiltered,
reliable, and yours.
Take a look at the people you'll meet today. It might just be for a moment, but the difference you could make in their lives can last a lifetime. If you could save one person, who would you save?
Okay, so we drowned the fire, stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90 miles per hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
Welcome back to Poetry of Immigrants, and in the second half of our show about hope on the southern border, we are going to ask Robin to tell us about what we're currently doing in Connecticut for an immigrant family.
So since we were last here, we gave a lot of talks, just as Karen just gave, and people would ask, because they would hear that one of the things an asylum-seeking family needs is a sponsor, and people would say, what's involved in becoming a sponsor? Families are being tapped out. There's a lot of responsibility, a lot of financial responsibility of being a sponsor, so people said, well, maybe I could do it. I have a house, I have this, I have that. So we started looking into it. In mid-July, a group of us got together and said, let's see if we can do this. We had our first meeting on a Saturday in mid-July, and on Monday, the pastor of one of the churches that we work with down in Green Valley, Arizona, contacted us and said, we have a family of 5 looking for a sponsor, 4 kids and a single mom. Can you help? So we got together, and within a week, we had a base of about 60 people right away willing to help out. And within 2 weeks, we were able to raise enough money so we could say yes. I mean, it's not like adopting a puppy. You give it back. If you say yes, you're going to sponsor a family. That means you're in it for the long haul. Asylum seekers cannot work. They have to wait for work permits. That could take anywhere from 5 months to a year. They are not entitled to any entitlements. That means no food stamps, no health insurance, no help with rent. So you're making a huge commitment to this family, and it's a big act of trust on the part of the family to come up. They didn't know us from Adam. So we were in touch with the folks down at the shelter where they were staying, and we were looking for an apartment, which is not easy to find. Low-cost housing in this area it's hard to find. But we finally found a place, and a bunch of us got together collecting furniture. Our local thrift shop opened up their warehouse for us. The local church let us use the van so we could move everything in. For 2 days we scrubbed and cleaned and painted and put the apartment together, and they left Tucson on Saturday night. They arrived by bus at the Greyhound station. They were supposed to get there, I think, at 10. We had prepared breakfast for them. We were all excited. We had the whole neighborhood ready to greet them. But they didn't get there till 4:30. So then we had another party, and we scrapped the pancakes, and we went to a little bit of a pizza party. So that was the beginning. In the first couple weeks, there were a lot of medical appointments. We were rushing to get the kids enrolled in school. That was Mom's main concern, is that the kids should be able to start school day 1, which they have. And for them, a lot of kids sort of mourn the end of summer. These kids could not wait to get back to school. They had to leave school early at the end of last year because of their situation, and they're so excited to just be back in school and learning. They already have professional aspirations. There's a strong commitment to learning English as soon as possible. Mom started her English classes last night. No, the night before last. Sorry, Monday night. So things on the education front are going well. Things on medical front are going well. And a very important part of this is finding a lawyer that will work with the family, which we have now. So now our list of volunteers has grown to about 125 people. And it is wonderful, and you need it. It's very, very hard for me to imagine how it would be possible for someone to come without a network. Every day there are challenges. So just like little things, like to have your utilities turned on, you have to have a social security number. An asylum seeker does not have a social security number. That's just a minor thing. To get an apartment, usually there's a background check to make sure your finances are in order. Well, they don't have that. To get a driver's license here, you can get what they call a driver's only license if you're an asylum seeker, but that could take up to a year to get. Once you have a job, then you can go ahead and get it right away. I mean, there's just stumbling blocks everywhere you turn. And because we have this great group of volunteers, anything we need, we put it out, and within 2 hours, it happens.
Robin, if I can add something
Please.
to that, talking about all of the volunteers and the people who are contributing. Yes, there are people who have connections to the medical community or to the school system or to various specialty needs for this family and others like it. But for the most part, volunteers are people just like us. No magical powers, nothing that sets us apart from the rest of the people in our communities. It's simply a desire to help somebody else. And I think it's really important that more people understand that they have something to give once they make the commitment to give it. So, you know, it's not a magical group of people.
Exactly. And then, so also the family needs time to chill. They've been through a lot. So a day at the lake. Google Translator is a phenomenal thing. You just pass the phone back and forth, and you know, people have a picnic and a day at the lake together.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Paddle boats and all.
Wow.
I'll have to do that.
I just got to give a shout out to Bikes for Kids. It's an organization very close to here in Essex, and they provide bikes for kids. And we took the kids there, and I don't think I will ever forget the expression on their faces as they were trying out their bikes in the parking lot there. It was phenomenal, phenomenal. And Deborah was asking me earlier, like, do you have to make big arrangements? No, you know, they can spend a day hiking or a day at a museum or just days together. This is a very close and beautiful family that they have a lot of integrity. They need a lot of help right now, but I have no doubt that they will make it, and they will contribute greatly to this country. Chris, you want to share anything? Because you've been involved with a lot of medical stuff.
With this particular family, one of the children has special needs, and it was probably mind-blowing for this mother to walk into one of our medical clinics here, but just being with her and allowing her to be in charge of decisions being made for her child was just a wonderful experience, and it was wonderful.
You know, any one thing can tip it. So the youngest one requires diapers and insure. Those are very expensive items. So, you know, we plan to have, you know, raise money for rent and utilities and phones and, you know, food. But just that one thing is a big deal.
They would just do that one thing.
You know, but so each time you think, okay, we're okay, there's going to be one more thing. And you realize in this country how when you say, you know, you're one thing away from falling into poverty, without the support of this network, I just don't know how it would be. And just how fortunate it is to watch everyone just step forward. So last night we all belong to a book group that we started after our trip, and last night the mom, we call her Z, joined us. Just, you know, a woman among women, and she wrote a little text to me this morning about how beautiful it was to see the coexistence of women and how much she admires and loves us. And
I love that. I love the word coexist. You see it on the back of bumper stickers with all the different religious.
Yeah.
And I just love the idea of that word being an encompassment of.
Well, Z got it.
She got it. She's a quick study.
Right. Yeah.
And I actually met her for the first time last night, and yet I still felt connected because of all of the energy that went into welcoming her and her family.
Well, you stocked her kitchen.
Well,
I mean, you know,
food is important.
Yeah, I mean, they came into an apartment filled with food. Thanks to you. Yeah.
You're more than welcome.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned something I just want to bring up tangentially. Good. You talked about Ensure, and things like Ensure or baby formula, how expensive that is. And I just wanted to say something about how ill-conceived some of the current strategies are about our processing of people that come in from the southern border and people who are being detained at the ICE raids and so on. Mothers who are taken away from breastfeeding children, that's a major appliance every 6 months. That's how we used to talk about it when I had the Leche League meetings. And you can't, after a mother's away from her child for 4 or 5 days, you can't reintroduce nursing with any guaranteed success. Probably, just about every man, and women who haven't had the experience would understand something like that. But that's crucial. And if people don't consider those things about taking a child away from its parent. And the other thing about taking a child away from its parent is one of the things I had to do for over 20 years is comfort children who for 3 hours had their first experience of being away from their parent. And that was, for many of them, potentially traumatic. So we would work very carefully to make sure that those children knew that person was coming back. We made little clocks with hands they could move to show that progress was being made. We would let them talk to their, anything that it took to build that confidence. And what confidence that these children have about abandonment. It's just, it's criminal, in my
To say the least.
Yeah. So excuse me for interjecting that there, but it linked me.
The two other points I wanted to add is that we, in addition to this volunteer support network, could never have done this without the support of the local community, because they know where to go. They're the ones that found the apartment. I mean, we would not know what to do, and so we really have a partnership going on, and how appreciative, I don't know how we would do it. And the other point is that we are helping this family, but we see ourselves as the asylum support team, that we see that this is doable. The need is there, and hopefully we're building a model that is what do you call
renewable.
Well, renewable and reproducible. There's another church in the area that's going down to visit September 30th. I kind of think that when they come back, they're going to look into it. So we're looking into how to go about doing this.
Did you want to run that?
Yes. So it takes about $30,000 to support a family of 5 for a year. Hopefully it's not a year, but we don't know that. So should you be moved to help support our asylum support team, there's information in there, and we're asking that you send checks to the First Congregational Church in Guilford. Attention Terry King, and if you put asylum support team in the memo, it will, all of it goes to support.
You want to give
them.
the address?
Oh yeah, thanks. And the address, just so happened to have, of the First Congregational Church in Guilford is 122 Broad Street, Guilford, Connecticut 06437.
Thank you, Robin. We're going to go back now to Karen. Karen has some information about your Keno Border Initiative. And
yes, I used to live in Manchester, Connecticut, and 40 years ago we sponsored Cambodian and Laotian refugees. And we just went to, my husband and I went to Washington State, and we met one of the families. They've never forgotten what we did for them. You know, when you get them, you have to teach them how to drive, and you have to take them to work and do their taxes. Anyway, they're good citizens. He has 4 children. 2 of them are in our military. One's been in 10 years. So they give back. They give back. And I also take people to visit the border. I've been doing that for years. Visiting here's pictures of our border in Nogales, Arizona. And this is in front of the Keno Border Institute. Keno Border Institute is I think it's a Jesuits organization. They work with the migrants on both sides. You know, we drop them off at 3 o'clock in the morning so nobody sees them, and they come to the Commodore, which is a kitchen, and we feed them, clothe them, and give them a telephone and see a doctor so they can contact their family and try to work to get back where they're going. So this is a picture. My church, I have it in Mesa, Arizona. I belong to a St. Bridget's church, and we recycle cans, and we were able to donate $500 with just recycling cans to the Keno Border Institute. So this is Father Sean Carroll. He's the charge of the Keno Border Institute. You can check it online, and donated items. So, and these are lots of information out there that tells you the truth. National Geographic had one in March. This is the Time magazine from February. Mother Jones is another article. And if you want to read some more, here's some more. This is a very interesting book, Mika's Journey. That's not an easy book to read. She rode on top of that train all the way through Mexico. This is a border officer that worked for the border. He recently wrote a book. This is another. This is by Catholic Charities wrote. I think that's a Catholic Charities book. So these are all to check your facts, folks. So if you want to donate, here is International Relief Organization. Here's the Kena Border Institute. And if you get lost, you can just email me, which is, I lost my piece of paper now. You can just contact me on my email, and I will get you the information. KarenCole89@gmail.com. Thank you, folks.
That's great.
Great.
I will add to the book Enrique's Journey.
Yes.
There's also another book called The Devil's Highway, which details very, very truly, it is a true story about the immigrants who come across the desert. And it's the way they live or do not.
Where's your shoe?
By the end of that journey. What I would like to say is that these two books in particular, I have read them. They're extremely difficult to get through, but I think it's important to keep a perspective that we're only reading a book. We're reading stories about people who actually lived these experiences, and I think more of us need to know what those true experiences of other people are like. So I highly recommend those books.
What can you tell us about The Line Becomes a River? I haven't heard of that one yet.
Yeah, that's just recently published. It's written by, he was worked for the Border Patrol, and he talks about his experiences. And his is kind of more positive at the time. He is no longer works for them.
I see.
So I just want to mention that I also involved with the country of Haiti, and I've been to Haiti 18 times in 30 years. I'm going again in March. But the Haitians will come up to you and say, God must love you very much because you were born white and you were born in America. We are so blessed. We have to share. That's what God cries us to do. God, you could have been born in India or Haiti, and your life would have been different. You got to be thankful for what you have and share.
Well, I maintain that being an American is for
privilege.
many of us an accident of birth.
It's an accident of birth. We could have been born anywhere.
Right.
And our life would be different.
Right.
So.
Any other thoughts?
I'm very curious about the book that was written by the former Border Patrol
The Line Becomes a
agent.
River.
Yes,
Get 'em online.
I will look for that because I really do question how anybody does the work that Border Patrol and ICE are doing now.
Right.
And this might give me another perspective. We'll see.
Yep.
I really do wonder how people do what they do.
And I think what concerns me is that people who have been doing work in a compassionate way are bailing now because the situation has gotten so bad.
Right.
I mean, they probably feel they have no ethical choice, but then who's left? It is concerning.
So the people that come from, we'd work with the Triangle from Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. They have a drought, but also they have gangs and they have a crooked police force. Can you believe the policemen rent their uniforms to the gang members so they can go out and rape? Now, if they're taking your 10-year-old son to be a guerrilla and they're raping your daughter and you never see the other one, what would you do? If your kids are hungry, you would do the same thing to save your children. You know what it costs. That's what they're dealing with.
When we have conversations with people who cannot sympathize with this effort of people coming over the border. Personally, for me, one of the most important questions I have to ask is, well, what is it that you would do, to what lengths would you go for your children or your grandchildren if their lives were in absolute peril? What would you not do for them? And there's very often not an answer when I ask that question.
Right.
Because they're thinking about it.
Either people are thinking about it or people aren't thinking about it. So many folks here are complacent and very, very secure in the assumption that it can't happen to me, it can't happen to my family, but it's happening. And we are these folks, we are these people.
Well, I'm really very happy that we all met here today to be able to share with some people who might be interested to know the perspective that we have about what's going on. And I think I'm very grateful that you could all be here. And you have a show coming up tomorrow as well.
Yeah, in Haiti, please watch
on
it.
Haiti.
I got 4 special guests coming. One lived through the hurricane, and some interesting people.
Okay,
should be a good show.
Thank you very much, and please come and visit Poetry of Immigrants again.
Thank you.
Thank you.